After 8 years as governor, it'll only be a matter of weeks before Deval Patrick takes the traditional walk down these steps and back into private life. An appropriate moment, we thought, to ask how folks view the state's outgoing governor.
I, Deval Patrick.
Do solemnly swear.
He's leaving, leaving us in a good state, but we can always improve on things.
I start off good, disappointed now. Pretty standard issue with.
Have you voted for him?
Yes.
I supported him in the beginning, and I was very pleased, but I just feel that over the past few years, he really has not been doing anything.
I'll give him a B minus.
B minus?
A B minus.
I love him.
You love him?
I'm a Republican.
You say you're a Republican. Have you voted for Governor Patrick?
Oh, sure. I think the economy in the state is pretty good. I like the health program.
You've really backed up the fact that you like him.
Yeah, I put my money where my mouth is.
What do you see as potentially next for Deval Patrick?
Hopefully national office, hopefully maybe running for Senate or even president.
He's a charismatic guy, and like I said, he loves public service, so I think that he's going to do well.
Well, of course, you've guessed it's the launching off point for our discussion this morning. We welcome to the OTR Political Roundtable this morning Democrat Marianne Marsh is with us and Republican Rob Gray. Thank you guys for joining us. You know, it's funny, in Ted's piece we're talking about, 8 years. Can you believe 8 years have gone by already?
Where does time fly?
Where?
Remember, Wu and I were outside, at the inauguration, standing on a platform on a pretty cold day. So
Yeah.
it
Seems like yesterday, didn't it?
Rob, when you look at his legacy, the man's still in office. He's still got a couple of weeks to go. But I say Deval Patrick, you think?
A lot of promise, a lot of hope, not a lot of competence, I think, in managing state government. Although the state is in decent shape, costs to businesses have increased majorly in terms of taxation and energy costs under the Patrick watch. And we'd have a lot more jobs today, I think, if some of those policies hadn't been put in place.
Marianne, your read?
I think we'd have a lot more jobs if George W. Bush hadn't tanked the country into the worst recession ever. And Deval Patrick did a great job making sure that this state didn't collapse, and it bounced back faster and better than many states, and is doing even better now. So I think that is really his legacy, and made investments during that time, so we were able to do even better once the economy started to turn.
He's clearly looking into the future. He looked very comfortable this past week at MIT, and he said if he joins the Innovation Institute there, it won't be his full-time job, but whatever it is, he is going to be based in Massachusetts. So my question, quite simply, is the world his oyster, Rob?
Well, he may be sitting across the river in Cambridge chuckling as Charlie Baker has to cash all the checks that Deval Patrick has written, and those costs are going to be a lot. But certainly, yes, he has a lot of opportunity, a lot of choices. He may be trying to set up a future political career, maybe a run for president. We don't know, but I sort of laugh at him over at MIT in the lab coat, kind of like Mike Dukakis at the University of Hawaii in the short-sleeve Hawaiian shirt.
He says not interested in politics right now. You take him at his word, Marianne, on that one.
This does not scream making money in the private sector. This screams, I'm planning my next national political move, where he can make money on boards, he can give lots of paid speeches around the country to continue to raise his profile, maybe write a book, and maybe write one on an innovative economy and how you extend the Obama, bump back from the terrible recession we went through. I think that's what he's thinking.
Let's focus in now on the city of Boston. Its Mayor Marty Walsh is calling for more creative 21st century Boston buildings as he names the new BRA chief, Brian Golden. He served with Walsh in the legislature. Golden is from Alston Brighton. Question, Marianne, how will things be different from the Menino era?
Well, I think what you've heard consistently in the past year from Marty Walsh is the fact that they're really looking at the innovation economy, the creative economy, and I think they're going to be able to take that and build out into those neighborhoods that even in the best of times haven't been able to come back, like Dudley Square and parts of Roxbury, to move artists and tech creatives and others into those neighborhoods and really build them out married to housing. And I think that's the big difference there.
Will we see a more innovative or creative skyline? That's my word, by the way, Rob. Not
Well, Marty Walsh has said that he wants to, so I think we will. He's appointed Brian Golden as the head of the BRA. They have a close relationship. I think Brian Golden will help Marty Walsh in his vision. And he stated it this week that he wants more interesting buildings. Let's not forget, Tom Menino forced developers to put that crown on the building.
building.
Exactly, next to the Prudential Tower. Mayors have that power, so let's hope Marty Walsh has a little better taste.
Let's switch the conversation over to D.C. Senator Elizabeth Warren has been making more and more national headlines. She doesn't like President Obama's new Treasury Secretary, and she railed against the bipartisan spending bill because of a provision benefiting derivative traders. Let's hear what she had to say.
This is about juicing the bottom line for a handful of big banks and doing it at the expense of the American taxpayers.
Does she have the political leverage, or does she just have a voice at this point, Marianne?
She has both. Do not underestimate the clout Elizabeth Warren has been able to garner in a very short time, and especially on this issue. She is giving a preview of what Congress is going to look like the next 2 years under Republicans, and she's daring anybody and everybody, if you vote for this, you're voting for Wall Street, it will be held against you.
Is Marianne right about that, Rob?
Playing Robin Hood can be very effective politically, and that is what Elizabeth Warren is trying to do here. She is narrow casting to the progressive liberal wing of the Democratic Party, and they see her as a hero. Let's remember, 22 of 28 Democrats in committee voted for the very provision that she's trying to strip out right now. So she is far to the left, but that's where the energy of the Democratic Party is right now.
Go ahead. You want to add something to that?
Well, I mean, she is going to be one of the biggest political forces over the next 2 years in this country in the Democratic Party, period, end of sentence. And it doesn't matter if you're left, right, or center. If you're siding with Wall Street on this, you've got a big problem, and I think everybody understands that.
Well, I agree with that. I think it's smart politically.
And she believes it, though. She really believes this stuff. This is what she's always believed.
She's also taking her moment in the sun. I mean, she believes in the cause, but she also believes in what it does for her politically and her national ambitions, I think.
I want to play a soundbite from Jonathan Gruber. He finally apologized this week when he was forced to testify before a congressional committee. Take a look.
I sincerely apologize for conjecturing with the tone of expertise and for doing so in such a disparaging fashion. It's never appropriate to make oneself seem more important or smarter by demeaning others. I knew better, I know better, I'm embarrassed, and I'm sorry.
He called Americans stupid, if you haven't heard, but and that was his word, that's not my word. But is the damage done, or doesn't he even matter, Marianne?
Look, Gruber gave the Republicans the opportunity they were looking for to go back at the Affordable Care Act, so who's stupid now? That would be Gruber. But Issa and others said, we can't trust him because he said that, so we can't trust his numbers. They really care about the numbers. Have the Congressional Budget Office rerun those numbers. That's what really matters, and those numbers will prove this is an effective program. That's what matters.
He sat in front of the committee and apologized, but damage done or irrelevant?
I think it added to the damage. Obamacare was an anchor around the Democrats' neck in the fall elections politically. And Gruber made it heavier because he's treating the American people as if they're some kind of laboratory experiment and it's their everyday health care.
Like
A quick prediction, do you think Charlie Baker will dump him in July of 2015 when his term is up on the Mass Health Connector? Marianne, yes, no?
Yes, but this is the architect of Romney Care, too.
He will, and Marianne's right. I mean, Mitt Romney created Jonathan Gruber.
That's
so.
right.
I couldn't help but think when I was listening to the original soundbite, when Jonathan Gruber used the word stupid, I had a professor at Emerson who preached on the horror of the naked mind. I think we saw the horror of the naked mind of Jonathan Gruber. Take a break. We'll be right back.